Morning to you all. Now, the next little job I have on there is to replace some box sash window sashes, just to do the sashes. Now, if I just pan over here, these are the old sashes that I've taken out. These are, if I just lift them up, you get the flavour of them there. There's 3 panes of glass in them, and these were taken out and assessed, and unfortunately they're made from softwood, but when I just tapped off a piece there, when I put my fingers into it, or a little spike of metal, what we have there is with plenty flight holes, and it's actually rotted completely, so you can see all the flight holes in the back there. Now, unfortunately, at the time they were made from softwood, and these are there since the 1950s, if we have our date somewhere right. They're completely bushed. Now, you'd always try with old period properties to restore rather than replace if you can, or part thereof to fill it in pieces. But in this case, I have 4 sashes to make up in this instance for a room, and all 4 sashes have had their best days are behind them. So they were just made from a softwood red deal, which is fine wood. They've lasted from the 1950s up to here, so that can't be too bad. So you can see the construction here to make up these. Now the box sashes, they look quite simple, but in actual fact there's quite a bit of work in them, quite a bit of detail in them. So the first protocol with these guys is to actually do a sectional drawing for the height and for the width. Now that's only applies to people that are professionals in the game. So I'm just going to go through the making process in these little clips that I have here. These were made in red deal. You can see there the profile that was on it. If we put that to camera up close, you can see the profile on this side, which is better. You'll see the scallop on it here, and it was done a very simple way before. They left the scallop just come down a little bit there. Now we're going to do a complete profile where the scallop there runs right through, the profile of the window runs right through. So they're very thin bars in them. If I come to the back of the glass there, very thin bars there. So that particular profile, I didn't have it in stock, so therefore we had to go and get it made up again. Now, while I didn't have that profile in stock there for doing what's called a scribe on the joint, so you go and you get them made up, and we'll show that again just to see what they look like and what the cutters are like when we go to machine up the stuff. An interesting thing occurs at the centre. You've got a rebated rail on it here, which comes proud. So there's a lot of detail work in these. That's called a toggle or a joggle on the end there. Now this is a very simple one. It's just a straight and a round, and in some cases it has a more ornate one. These are very, very straightforward and simple. You got the bars running in, they're scribed over. Can't see that in camera. So the bars here will be scribed over the profile there. So that's what comes into play with the joinery work. And the new ones we're going to make in these are going to be made from mahogany. I would always choose mahogany for replacement sashes. Sapelli is the most cost-effective one. The reason I do that is Sapelli is a very, very stable timber, so therefore it's not liable to twist, because the one thing with a box sash window, when they slide up and down, some people call them up and down windows obviously, is that you don't want the sash to go into twist at any time in its lifetime. So in my case, mahogany is the best choice there. I would steer clear of Iroko because it has a tendency to move. If I was to make the frames, the box sash frames to take the sashes, in that case then I would use Iroko because it's a good hardware and timber and there's lots of longevity in it. So if we take the sashes there's lots of detailing around the meeting rails where they meet here in the middle, and if I pull them down like that there, you'll see that the one meets over the other, and the joggles on this one shoot up and the joggles on the other one. If I take the broken part here, they will come down like so on the far side. So the meeting rails there, can't see it on camera, but there's a latch bolt right down the middle there. If I lift up this guy, you will see it. So there's the meeting rail, and there's the latch that holds the 2 sashes together, and they slide up and down. So this is the top one. So this one will be coming down. As you can see from the end there, that's the cord that is rebated into or slotted into the edge of the frame there. And that will be replaced again with traditional weighted sashes. So they'll be going back in. The rollers are kind of bushed, so we put back in new brass rollers just to make it more modern and to make it function better. And we'll also be putting in draft seals all around to take into account the weather elements. So they'll be completely sealed, so it'll be effectively new windows. So down behind me here then, what we have here is the mahogany for the new ones, and these are all out and ready to go. So these are the base rails, the heavy ones, they're the sills I mean. So we've got the top rails, we've got the bars for the central part there for the glazing, and then we've got pairs of meeting rails. Now it's always important to actually know the pieces you're doing. There's lots of work and lots of little detailing in the box sash frames themselves, so you have to be awake when you're machining the process. First port of call, like any job you do, is to mark the face side and face edge. You can do that with a pencil, you can do it with a crayon, you can do it any way you want, but just make sure that you do it so you know what piece is going against the machine, face side down, face edge in, etc., or face side up and face edge out, whatever system you use. All pieces should be marked. I have all the lengths already marked on these, and I have all the widths. So from my height and width rods, I have all the dimensions, external dimensions worked out. So if we just go back to the originals here, I have the actual height or the width worked out there, and this is the vertical height of each sash. So now that I've that done, I'm ready to go through the machining processes. And the machining processes, I've got to set up 3 machines in one go. I've got to set up my mortiser, I've got to set up my tensioner, and I've got to set up my spindle moulder, and that's the basis of doing box sash windows. So I'll have them, that's my next port call, set them up, and we'll run off. In this case here, I have a sample of red deal. This is it here, there's the profile that we're going to be using. So that's the profile there. I had to get cutters made up to do that old shape there, that old profile there. So we have that cutter now in the machines, and that's going to be our profile for the machine setup. We'll just show you, these are just test pieces. So these are just test pieces. So there's just a mortise, I'm setting it up there, and there's the rebate that's going to be in it there. And we're just setting up the mortise there, and there'll be tiny little part of the bone left there. That's called the bone on a, that's called the bone on a window or a door frame. Now these are just set up. I'll set this first, mortise first, tenon second, and scribe third. So we'll do those, and we'll come back on camera to show them. So Anishka and Kay Dorella, it's long go forward. Bye for now.